I click the record button and say, yo, what up?
What up?
How are you? How's life?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am swell. I'm good. I'm swell. I'm well. We're doing something a little different tonight. So this is your own unique woman deck, a woman deck that I don't think we've ever seen before. Um,
Yeah,
oh,
totally unique. No one has ever done anything like this. Don't look
hmm.
at the
It's a,
title or anything.
it is cool by design, and so I gotta give you kudos for how original the idea is. Um, but we are looking at the main deck is locked in. We're not changing the main deck even a little bit. We're just looking at what sideboard options are.
Yes.
Okay. So hit me with the pitch. What do you need my help with?
Uh, I haven't played this meta nearly as much as like when we were working together for teaching for nationals
Mm-hmm.
back in Dallas. So I just don't feel as comfortable with the meta. So I threw in a bunch of cards that like seem useful in situations, like Will of Steel for a throw deck, or Ruthless Mockery against a string deck. Facing Danger is Referee Jury at home, but you get to build it at least. Stuff like that. But I don't know if I'm over committing slots to one thing, or if I'm choosing flexible cards over more potent cards, because getting a tour and facing danger both are pseudo stun hate on top of being a little extra speed against speed hate or being that referee jury at home. So
Mm-hmm.
there's just a lot of options going on, and I'm not 100% here. Sideboarding is hard.
I agree with you fully. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk more about the process in which um, I'm going to use a potentially derogative term, but I made it in the most honest way possible. An out of touch player can come into the meta and be like, "What do I do?" And the first thing that you do is you just look at the top 8 deck lists. So I've got them both pulled up here. Here's the webcam circuit that you have obviously seen for no
Yes.
particular reason. And then I've got the top 8 OCE. Luckily, we are the second regional inside the thing, or else this list would be way harder, right? And so when we take and we look at this as the woman deck, and I'm sure that you have played plenty of games or maybe seen on stream how the woman deck plays. What did Cameron lose to? What do you think, as you're a good player, what are the holes of this deck?
Well, being a five-hander that just wants to put a lot of damage on attacks, she can easily catch you off guard if you're not holding the right stuff. So she really loves to just see another five-hander across the table, because I honestly think she can take any of them in a fair fight. Even most
Mm-hmm.
six-handers, if they aren't defensively minded, she can just punch them to death real easy. I have two-shot people like no one's business. But then I see something like George Zhang's Rodan, and I'm trying to think, how do I puncture this iron wall?
Yeah.
Uh,
And the
or
answer is,
oh yeah, go ahead.
you just need more answers, right? What does your deadlock look like? You're playing 2 practical studies. Should you have 2 more? These are all bonus speed. You get 3 practical studies out, you fight the character. The character has been negated, which means that now your +1 plus X is relevant, right? They go to deadlock and now it's really relevant because I'm +3 and +1 because you haven't lost health, +3 because of the commit, +1 because of woman. That's +5, and I get rid of your best defensive piece. Maybe you don't have a 3 Eyes of Hiei anymore because I've done this thing, right? Ideas like Can't Escape Me. They go to 11 Foundations, they commit out their board to sell out, and you say, hey, my repeated smash, I get to do the thing. Like we talked about Void Eraserhead doing this idea of like
Mm-hmm.
Can't Escape Me, repeated smash, reready it, Can't Escape Me. So like it exists here, except for this character can actually kill people. Um, and
You're not wrong.
Ideas like Plummeting Punch, right? Like these are already ideas that are good enough to exist in the deck, in order to make something happen. And so, like, is it possible that we've got 2 of these mainboarded? Could we sideboard if we're worried about the late game? Let's sideboard more Deadlock. The word Deadlock is not on any of our stuff here, right? If we're worried about the late game, Deadlock is the answer.
Yeah, for Deadlock, you only have what? Practical, Power, and Plummeting Punch.
Can't Escape Me as well.
Oh yeah, can't escape me.
Yeah. And so, like, when it comes to it, like, it is all about assessing threats. Whenever we look at the OCE event, the only deck that really wants to go to Deadlock is Younger Togoro. All these other decks are just trying to get the job done, which means that in the OCE event, your woman deck should tear people up, right? It really is just like, what does the climate look like? And so whenever we have this information, we need to be prepared for, I have to be able to stop people who are just trying to tear me up, and I have to be able to try and stop the late game Giro 3 Rodans, or even the mirror match. Cameron cycled pretty much every game that we saw him play. It was not killing people on turn 2 most of the time. It was really trying to go late, cycle the deck once, and then find 5 attacks and kill you with them. And so when it comes to the sideboard, I don't hate Mockery. Mockery is a good way to not die as your character, right? 34 health that says that all the moves get -2 damage. Means you probably survived. I don't hate Facing Danger. I think Facing Danger is fine. But it is, as you said, Jiri at home. I don't like getting a tour. I think that there's probably just like better ideas of things that we could be doing than getting a tour. And so let's just go find those. Open link in a new tab. Void, action, asset, foundation, go. Man, Galactic Monster is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Decay Awakened is very funny to fight those decks, because your deck can thrive in the early game, just depending on like how you can rebuild. It's very cool. There's an idea of expansion, right? Having an onboard trick that wins, but that is very susceptible to something like a Byakuya. That's a very susceptible to something like a Toga. Clears a card. It's cool versus Pony. How much momentum do you get for free? Is there an idea of like a button collector? Spend momentum, seal 2 foundations. They can destroy one to cancel this ability. Even if just like a one of. There's something neat there. Majo Concealment, I think, is one of the sickest sideboard pieces that you can have in the deck, right? Of like, hey, you have 3 Eyes of Hiei loses to Majo Concealment. If that's your main defensive outlet, I'll just tell you no once per turn. On the turn when you try to make my high into a mid to block with your own combined firepower, I just tell you no. It's a very good one of to sideboard. I love Macho Concealment as the one of.
Okay.
I don't hate an Icy Blade. This thing stops Showdown. It also stops the random stun.
And the not stun.
Yeah. There's no cape.
There's actually a lot of like not stun running around, which is.
There's an idea where we play 3 Eyes of Hiei to fight their 3 Eyes of Hiei. Like this, like you're playing Void Punches. You know, a zone isn't represented except for in Plummeting Punch, the low zone. They never have to hold lows until you 3 Eyes of Hiei your repeated smash and make it a low, then re-ready it. Or like do the defensive thing. I'll 3 Eyes of Hiei. I'll make it a mid. I'll block with combined firepower. Like you get to do that too, because you can remove an attack, or you remove a foundation with woman, give your attack +1/+2, respond combined firepower, 3 as if I'll block it. And with woman, you guarantee you block it because you turn it into -3 speed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you know, fight the power with the power. You're a villain. This card beats momentum decks as long as you can steal it. There's no hacker in your deck. That is every time that I touch you, I get a free draw. We talked about this. Lock in the building. You may play one ready. You may enhance card pool flip. You may play one ready foundation from your stage face down into your card pool as a 1 mid-block modifier to block this attack. Response destroy. After an attack is played, that card cannot leave the card pool during the combat phase. This is weird versus Pony, and it's weird versus the Rodan. If they play, what do they play? The tri-beam attack or whatever. This card says you get to actually block it if you block the second move. Not good. It's weird. Just looking. Web of Blades fights Rodan same way that it fights Eraserhead. It says that if their block modifier goes low, you just say, yeah, I'll put it back. Right? I give +1 speed. They're gonna give -4. I'm still at -2, and so I'll Web of Blades and give it the +2 back. So I gave +3. They gave -2. That's only -1. They're gonna run out of cards. Top row heroes. Decoy Duplicate is fine. Citywide is in the deck. Commit after an attack leaves your card pool. No. Don't have any of that. Exhausted. I'm such an Influence in the Youth fan, and I think it's one of the most slept on cards in the game. What Keiko's Aid? What 3 as if EA? I'm going to try and kill you. It's Ice Sword that we get to just put on the board and wait. Confused. So Confused gets rid of EX, it gets rid of Powerful. It also just randomly removes attacks from the discard pile so that, like, their cycles don't work. It gets rid of Throw if we care about that. It gets rid of Echo. I think Confused is really strong at the moment. And then I saw you had the Fighting Spirit in here. Why do you have Fighting Spirit in here?
Referee jury. Getting juried multiple times is one of the ways that other fair decks can still just beat me.
Okay. Your deck, obviously this is a flip cost, but your deck has the answer of Jury, of being able to play Can't Escape Me, which cancels Jury because it does say draw 1 card. And so Can't Escape Me does do that and hits the other part of the pie graph.
I didn't even think of that.
That is also the deadlock. And so this card is really good against Invincible Body, which Can't Escape Me can't touch. But your character can, and you can save things like Combined Firepower for if you want to, like, try and fight through it. Or, I don't know, like, repeat it or whatever. But, like, if you're gonna do that, like, we can do the thing. The other idea of a thing that you have is, I think sideboarding an extra Rupture Driver is not a bad idea. This card is Momentum Hate. This card says mill 3, they spend a momentum. If you're fighting against an Amajiki, or you're fighting against something that wants a momentum, a Toga, right? They hit you once, and they're trying to EX or powerful you or whatever. You just tell them, hey, no, spend it again. It is good enough. With that said, we now have 18 cards on our sideboard. So we got to figure out what we don't like. Again, I think we're going to put Can't Escape Me back here in this sideboard. Anything else main border that we need? The answer is no. Okay, so now that we have 19 cards in our sideboard, we have to figure out, like, what matters and what doesn't, right? What does our pie chart look like? Fighting Spirit should just leave. I think this card is very cool. I think under the chaos symbol, I think that we could get away with this because, like, Armor of the Wolf, getting juried under chaos is rough, right? But like we have can't escape me in order to stop that, and I don't think that we will have room for that. And we also have Web of Blades to help fight that does a similar idea of fighting spirit, right? It's not perfect, but like it at least gives us the +2, right? They put something back to print at -1. You go, nah, it's over.
I concur. I think fighting spirit can easily get out of here.
Yeah. Will of Steel. After you block a throw with this, it deals no damage. What is the difference between Will and Ruthless Mockery? This is a one-time use, right? And this is Ruthless Mockery. The question is like, what are each of these trying to touch? This is trying to touch a slow, big damage throw, right? Like the number one thing that comes to my mind is something like a
Godzilla or Byakko.
Jawjammer, right? Or Godzilla or Byakko, right? But doesn't Ruthless Mockery also do that same thing because you block and then partial? Or you block -2 and then the partial activates, and so you take their 9 damage move, you turn it into a 7 damage move, and then it's 4, and then it's -2 across the rest of the board. Fighting Ruthless Mockery, fighting Godzilla, my -2 is just, it's not even negating their character. I should just like try and block better, right?
That's why like Mockery is more for like a Rodan or a Pony where they have a harder time putting damage on it.
Mm-hmm.
They have to spend actual resources to do it, whereas Byakko or Godzilla just show up. And their entire thing is, I showed up with extra damage. Like Woman, you're not gonna Ruthless Mockery Woman. It won't do much of anything.
Right. Okay. Do we mainboard one pass? Okay. Pass through else is fine. Facing Danger? Man. I think this card is such a panic that I would rather it just be 3 Eyes of Hiei.
I agree. I think I'm just overcorrecting here with Facing Danger.
Yeah.
Or at least she doesn't need it. Other characters might need that panic button. She's a 5-hander. She's going to have to just rely on her big ass.
Yeah. I feel the same way about getting it to her. Like, I just want to take, like, those 4 cards and just make them 4 3 Eyes and be like, hey, when I'm playing... I didn't mean to put that on the main board. When I'm playing defensively... When I'm forced to play on defense, my combined fire powers and my barrier shields and my whatever, I'm just going to block everything. And then I'm going to make my stuff lows and then repeated them back to being ready. I think that's such a cool idea. Chivalrous Thief. Because we have access to the Rupture Driver in the main board, I don't think we need Chivalrous.
I also think that because it doesn't actually end up buffing any of our attacks, it's a harder sell.
Yeah.
Like if we were playing slams or taunts, I mean it's already decent. Like some people play the Earth one that's just spend 1 for them to spend 2, but I would like to get stats if it's going to offer stats.
Hacker and Pass Through Walls do very similar jobs, except for Hacker can turn us into an X-hander across the turns, depending on if we have momentum. Whereas Pass Through Walls is a better check, a better block, and is a cancels breaker. And this also deals with an asset once rather than getting rid of it forever. I like Hacker over passing or Pass Through Walls personally, because I don't actually think we necessarily care about breaker. We're not trying to kill on turn 2 anyways. We're trying to play a slightly, like we're playing a more mid-range deck. We want to set up for a turn and then go kill them. If we happen to draw the nuts and we try to go for it, then I don't think the Pass Through Walls, the one of Pass Through Walls is going to matter that much via breaker.
Okay.
That felt like you didn't agree, and if you don't, that's okay. But talk to me about why.
Oh no, I agree.
Okay.
I'm just thinking of it all in my head at the same time. Trying to download the info.
We talked practical. We talked Web of Blades. We talked Influence in the Youth. I think we are not going to have room for Rupture Driver, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it now. Right? And so when we take and we look at what exists last, right, or what exists still, I think our issue is the fact that we have eyes at a 4 of. It's just taking up too many slots. So now we just cut it down to a 2 of. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 7. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 slots, which means that between Hacker, Practical, Web of Blades, Influence in the Youth, Can't Escape Me, we get 3 cards. I think that we don't need the Practical because we have access to more power, Practical, Can't Escape Me in the main board. I don't think that this is going to do the bonus. We also, like, this thing touches assets rather than just Deadlock Foundations touches assets. But we have Hacker in case there's a big asset problem. So, like, we're covering our boat there our butts there as well. So I think that the Practical leaves.
Okay.
I really like the Web of Blades for the Rodan matchup. I really like the Web of Blades. And I think that we are already mainboarding double Can't Escape Me. And so I want to cut the Can't Escape Me from the sideboard, and I want to play double Influence in the Youth. And I think this card has so much mileage, and people are sleeping on this card.
Yeah, especially, I like it that I could just build it, block with it, and then when my turn comes around and I have the kill hand, I just go commit all them. Oh, look, you're defenseless. I love it.
It is Ice Sword Execution, and Ice Sword Execution is the second best attack in the game. It's Ice Sword Execution that sits down and waits for you and is not clogging your hand. You built double learning? No, you didn't. I'm sorry. Do you have 3 incubatings? No, you don't. Actually, you don't have 3 incubatings. You have to figure out a different way to do the thing, right? Like this card just does so much on the turn that you just decide that you're going to kill them. To the point of, we're not talking the main board. In my Evil Order Void decks, I am mainboarding 2 copies of this card because I think it is that impactful. Of like, I think that this card is so good to just be in the main board and just kill you because of it. And it's not even first form, it's just form. So things start to go my way and I go, I smell blood, I'll form, commit those. You didn't use them quick enough, I'll do the thing. Die. Explode. I'm a big fan of Influence.
The play from here, there's 11 cards.
Oh,
I think
11.
I just need to figure it out from here. We can let that be the sauce if someone sees me and recognizes me in St. Louis. What's the one card they didn't play?
Oh, sure. That's fair. All right. If that's the case, then I think job well done. Thank you for the support on Patreon, and I will see you this weekend.
Yeah, thank you for doing something a little different and looking at the sideboard.
I have no problem looking at sideboards. I just don't want to look at sideboards and main boards at the same time.
Oh, 100%. We've had this talk.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to send you a list. You have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Peace.